Hi. Chances are you've heard this old story before, but I'll tell it just in case you haven't. The story begins where an old man is sitting on the outskirts of a town, sitting there just smoking his pipe, when coming towards him is a motor vehicle. The motor vehicle pulls up, the man winds down the window and he says, "Good day, mate. I'm thinking about settling in this town. What are the people like in this town?" The old man puffs on his pipe for a moment and he says, "What were the people like in the town you're leaving?" And the man in the car says, "Oh, they were terrible, mate. Robbed you blind, wouldn't lend you anything, absolutely uncooperative, real terrible people. That's why I'm leaving." The old man looked at him and he said, "Yes, you'll find people like that in this town too." And the man drove away. Half an hour later, another car comes down the road. Driver pulls up. He says, "Good day, old timer." He said, "I'm thinking about settling in this town. What are the people like in this town?" The old man looks at him and he says, "Well, what were the people like in the town you lived in?" The man in the car says, "Wow, couldn't find better people, mate. They'd do anything for you. Look after your pets when you're away, mow the lawn, very cooperative, lend you money if you needed it. Great people. Couldn't find them better." The old man looks at him and says, "Yep, you'll find people like that in this town too." Now the moral is pretty obvious. We find what we have within us, the sort of thinking that goes on in our minds. Now, it's very important to know that the surrounds we get depend on the way we think and feel about other people, about our lives, and about how we relate to other people. If we hate them or love them depends upon how we're thinking within ourselves emotionally. And we are responsible for what we put in there. Now, a lot of it would have been put in there unconsciously by the way we were brought up, the way we respond to things, the way people around us respond to us, etc., etc. If life has treated us really badly, and all we can think about is things of getting our own back and getting revenge and filled with hatred, these are the sort of thoughts which will come out in us in actions towards other people. Can you imagine the person who will deliberately torture and hurt other people? You see it. Sometimes you see it in kids tormenting and hurting animals. And you know fully well that eventually, when they grow up, they'll do the same with adults, other human beings, if they can, because they are reflecting something which is within them. It's not what they are. It's what they believe to be. It's what they believe to be subconsciously or deep in their unconscious mind. We react so often out of our unconscious feelings. We need to know ourselves. If we're living an unhappy life and making others unhappy around us, it's our responsibility to change. Don't think the world outside is going to change for us. It won't. It'll be like the man driving into the village or into the new town. He will surround himself with the people he draws towards him by the state of his thinking. Likewise with a man who will draw friends and good people to him. Birds of a feather do really flock together. Criminals find other criminals. Loving, helpful people find other loving, helpful people. It just seems to be a law of nature. The responsibility as to whether we're going to be happy or miserable depends on us and no one else. It's up to us to change. Don't expect the world to. If you want happiness, if you want joy, You want contentment. Change yourself until that arrives in your life. And when it's there, keep doing what you're doing.